Meeting number 3. Call to order. Do I hit a gavel? Okay. Org chart. I feel like we're probably going to be able to modify that bottom row now on slide 3 with the roles that we want to go over today.
Yeah, Bodhi should switch from Web3 disruptor to Sage economy disruptor, in my opinion.
Oh, shots fired.
What did I do?
All right, for our quads, things that we've done since last we met. We reviewed PIP 15, sent it to the foundation for review. I created position descriptions and put them in the file repository for maybe it might come in handy later on. Met with Automata and Foundation. Created that X account. Signal's already been blasting tweets and putting out some good content. And we've reviewed several PIP drafts, I think, at this point. I don't think we are in the process of finalizing that feedback, although we probably need to talk about at what point do we consider that feedback finalized. So I can write that down here. And then we did quite a bit of internal communication or discussion about nuances. And here we are. Anybody want to add something?
No, it's been a pretty awesome week, brother.
Certainly been lively, yeah.
Yeah. One thing you couldn't call it is uneventful.
So anybody?
We almost had 4 meetings this week. Jeez.
I know. Okay. The only upcoming event we had was yesterday. I had that we had to review new PIP drafts. Oh, that's exactly what we did. Okay, never mind. That was when I created the threads signal. Did those permissions get sorted out for you?
Yes.
All right, cool. So we started reviewing Raiden Systems 2 DAOcaster role, establishing values list, probably, I think. I just wrote it down wrong. And
the
enhanced player. No,
I'm thinking the networking site is already past review at this point. We already reviewed it and submitted it for like final write down and getting ready for vote.
Oh, the media expansion, Raspies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another one we're reviewing.
Yeah.
And Drum says in the chat, Drum's on an airplane right now, so he can't chat, but he can type. We are waiting for the foundation approval to send Matt's PIP for voting. So that has moved.
Ooh, nice.
It is out of our hands at this point.
Yeah, congratulations, Intergalactic Herald. You've made it through every hurdle except the very last one at this point.
Which one was Matt's PIP?
It was the networking site for like community meetups.
In-person community meetup platform?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to put in the future sometime this week. Maybe I'll just assume the end of the week of that. May 2nd, in person. So the PIP goes to vote. Or not, let's just say
it's like a general update on these. I think at least off of the early notes that I've seen so far, Raiden Systems seems like it's super close to just being cleared through. It was a really simple proposal this time around, equivalent to essentially like a 5% donation, while they wait to switch to like a paid subscription model. Creation of DAOcaster role. I think that was actionable with a couple small modifications. I'm taking that on, obviously, since I'm the writer in that case. I'm getting notes from the council on it. Establishing a values list, I think, Amp, you yourself might be slow rolling that one a bit, at this stage.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm gonna pump the brakes for a minute while we get our feet under us with Autonoma and some of that stuff. It's more nuanced than people would think. So
Yeah, and everyone's amped about media expansion proposal. I think it's pretty darn clean, but I think there's some notes on it to be passed on to Raspy, and I'll be passing those notes to him following this meetup.
I think the working groups need to be rescoped. I don't think Swagner's going to. I think we need to make. I think we need to put a bit of a more firm ceiling on it, so that the council can just handle everything instead of needing to rely on the foundation.
Yeah, and that's for everybody. Like, we've been getting just a wee bit of pushback lately on just the way we structure things. So, if the language of a proposal seems like it leans excessively on the foundation to be able to execute it, keeping in mind that the foundation's essentially like these are hourly people, and their accessibility and their capacity is lower than, say, maybe the council at this stage. So as much as possible, we want to kind of create this ladder effect where we're taking things off of the foundation, putting them on the council. And also, if you're writing a PIP, as much as possible, if you can be the implementer of it, so it's just all on the council, that's the next stage of it. So trying to unburden the foundation using the council, trying to unburden the council using the community, is kind of the sequence of operations right now, what we're looking to accomplish with proposals. So if you've got language in your proposal that says the foundation will do X, Y, and Z, maybe rewrite to council, or even better, find ways that you could implement at the community level.
that was well said.
Thank you. If I can do one thing, it's talk.
You are not
Are there
wrong.
any other upcomings that we need to take note of on our quad?
No, we'll have our weekly meetings and stuff still, but nothing crazy
Talking about the
that I can
internals.
think of. Yeah, the internal, and then
Yeah, a
it's
lot of
just
our
the
big items are
ongoing.
in the accomplishments up there, like so like item 4, in accomplishments, that actually finally crossing the finish line, that is still technically an upcoming for us.
Oh, the one where we move those 4 pips from ideas to draft.
Yeah, exactly. They went from ideas to draft, and now we're gonna work to try to get them from draft to votable, executable proposals. So that's the next big
Yeah.
lift for all of them.
I can't think of anything other upcoming events.
Okay. All right, then let's move on. I did not get a chance to update the action items. I think
Did
we
we
could
finish
probably.
the right side of that slide?
Hmm?
Did we finish the right side of that slide?
Oh, the
Talking about
scope,
the scope
and the goals.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just carrying over. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, if you all have a update to the goals or the scope,
No worries.
yeah, we can
Yeah,
change that now.
Yeah, it's kind of meant to be our bedrock of like that's more the unchanging portion. What is
Yeah.
that we're here to do, and what our individual goals are.
Roger.
Bodhi, yours is DAO Constitution and social media. That's what your goal is right now that I've written down. Do you want me to keep that?
Yeah. No, I'm just getting a better understanding of how this is working week to week.
You and me both.
All of us.
Yeah. For the action item slide, I don't want to end up where it's not useful to you all, and I'm updating it because I can't keep up with all the updates. So if we don't think it's a good fit for us to keep our own action items updated, then it's best if we leave this one behind and I can remove it.
Okay. I do like it though, man. I think we should have some
Yeah.
version of it. I like the week-to-week individual accountability that it provides. Meaning, before I got into this meeting, what's the very first thing that I did was I sat down with the iPad earlier. I pulled up everything. And I looked at my screenshot of this slide and said, okay, what homework do I owe? Like, all right, the X account is up. We're active over there. We've got a presence in, Twitter for social media. And I started looking through the finance stuff below, going, all right, like making sure that we have refreshable dashboards for tracking DAO revenue, making sure that I'm talking with Steven Sable about where this data comes from and making sure it's accurate, making sure we understand the impact of rental fees for DAO revenue, and then presenting it all of it in the council chat, just to make sure that everyone agreed that I had done my homework. I think it's good. I think, like, if we didn't have something like this, there wouldn't be that natural urge to go, crap, let me make sure I did everything I was supposed to do,
Yeah.
for everyone else.
Agreed.
So
I
if
think
we don't do this, we should do some version of it.
okay. Well, I just have
Yeah,
it.
I like it. It's just hard to keep updated.
Yeah. Yeah. So
My flaw is I don't have a laptop other than like my work machine. The only other machine I have just sits there and runs Sage with like all my crypto shit like all the time. And I feel weird about using that. Like, that's never connected to Discord, and I don't click links to documents and like all kinds of other things with it. Half the time I'm on mobile, and getting into some of these things can feel clunky. Mid for me.
Yep. But no, I say definitely keep it on there.
okay. All right. I'm gonna close out the Segwit one because now that I hosted the first meeting and we definitely determined that it's gonna be a community effort and not a Star Atlas Council effort. I'm gonna take it out of our purview.
Cool.
So that one's done now.
And by the way, Lanzer, I just want to say publicly, like, regardless of, community response, council response, coordination, anything else tied to that, like, genuinely a brilliant idea of taking community ideas and finding ways to empower them that doesn't just directly impact the Star Atlas treasury and the DAO treasury, and finding ways that we can leverage other resources to get things done rather than just tapping ourselves in our own token. All absolutely brilliant, super valuable ideas. And I really hope for a second you don't give up on any of them, because I think they're incredibly valuable.
Thanks, man. I probably will end up slowing it down a bit because it's the amount of resistance is the wrong word. The amount of steps it takes to make that happen is far greater than I originally anticipated, and
Massive lift.
it's no longer aligned with the goal of connecting the ecosystem within SAC 2. So I'm not sure I'm going to continue it on. And also,
Yeah, I just want to
Falcor,
make sure I gave you all that kudos and
yeah, thanks.
recognition, because
Appreciate it.
it really was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
It is a brilliant idea. I'll correct.
So it looks like action item number 4, creating the DAO X account, can be struck off. Congratulations,
baby.
Signal.
Yeah.
What was the first
Well,
one
really,
that you submitted?
congratulations, Lanzer. I think you secured like the Gmail account for us and kind of, jumped out the window, getting it at least to a point where we could get it functional.
Yeah.
The next big step for us, of course, in that account is going to be, we want to have a neutral phone number that we can use for it, so it can be passed between councils. Like right now, the account's pretty much bootstrapped. It runs off of my work phone, which as the number tied to it, and we all agree that's not ideal. We don't want that. So,
Yeah.
as soon as we manage to get like a neutral phone number, we'll transfer it over. So it's something that we can easily pass to the next council as time goes on.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. The next one was obtain how to access rental revenue. I think you posted that in the chat. I just didn't get a chance to digest it all.
Yeah, so I learned a lot about rental revenue and how it impacts the DAO. The too long didn't read of it is it doesn't impact it very much. It's a very,
Really?
very small.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Like
if you were to
1%.
yeah, like if you were to all rentals have a 10% fee applied to them. Out of that 10% fee, roughly 60% of that goes to the developers who created the rental program. So it's split between Sly, who created like the smart contracts and stuff like that tied to it, and the front end developer who created like the front end interface. So then you're left with 40% of fees. 35% goes to Automata as a source of revenue off of the rental program. And then 5% goes to the DAO. So out of that 10%, 5% belongs to us. So I guess
And
another way of saying it is like 0.5% of all rental revenue, 0.5% roughly, goes to the DAO. It's a very, very small figure. So
and
like
this and the figure was how much for rental? You say 10%?
There's a 10% fee on all rentals.
I'm
Out
sorry,
of that
I asked
10,
the wrong question. How
yeah.
much of the total revenue is rentals right now?
Total revenue incredibly small.
Okay.
I could
Got
I could pull it up, but like
That's
if we
fine.
did like 50,000 in revenue, like $350 was
Got it.
rental revenue. It's I could
Negligible.
physically donate to the DAO what our rental revenue was in the past month.
Okay. So you want to close this one out?
Yeah, we have an answer on it. It's roughly 0.5% of all rental revenue goes to the DAO, but it's a very, very small number
So
for
we're
us.
closing out the need to determine how to access it because it doesn't sound very impactful to us.
No, it isn't.
All right. Okay.
I can break down real quick for us.
Yeah.
Pulling
All
up my
good.
screenshot.
Oh, good. I'm closing that one out. Determine who to coordinate to ensure we get access to up-to-date revenue data. Is that the same thing, Steven?
Yeah, Steven Sabal or Sable. I might be
Sable?
mispronouncing it. Yeah, but the
Did
guy's
we
an absolute beast.
did we come to resolution on all the other revenue tools, or do we need a dashboard?
If we
Yeah, that's something I'm going to talk about in my action item is
Oh,
some of that
okay.
stuff.
All right.
But for a breakdown, like if you were trying to understand like DAO revenue, over the past 4 weeks for like our $50,000, 44,214 of that was Atlas crafting fees inside Sage. So by far, the number one source of revenue for the DAO is people playing Sage in the crafting loop. And right after that, you had like 4,000 in marketplace fees. And 8,000 in marketplace fees between USDC and Atlas. It's pretty much 99.9% of everything we take in is either a marketplace fee or it's an Atlas crafting fee from Sage.
Say that again. That's a marketplace.
Marketplace fees for like if you sell or ship, the fee that goes from that represents roughly 20% of our revenue, and about 80% of it is Atlas crafting fees in Sage.
Okay. Thank you.
So like an insane amount of our revenue is just based off of Sage being really active and people crafting stuff.
Okay. Got it.
And then secondarily, it's who's trading ships on the market.
Sounds good. All right, I'll close this one out. Ask Steven about enhancing Flipside Crypto with a refresh.
Yes, totally works. So I can post that information weekly. I can refresh pretty much instantaneously on all of the individual dashboards. All it requires is for you to create a Flipside account, which is free, and then you can use the refresh feature on all the
Okay, got it.
dashboards,
So it's
and
already, so
it's
it's there.
already
You
there.
just, I say,
Yes.
just close that one out.
Yeah. If we create an account, we can utilize the full capability to include the refresh button.
Yeah, like all the data that I
Alright.
pulled and posted in our chats this morning, that was as of this morning. Like all of
Okay.
it was refreshed and pulled.
Is it okay to ask, or is it part of is it difficult for you to go into the slides and post the screenshot there? Or is that something that one of us should take on, i.e. me?
I could probably post. Oh, I just saw Drum in the chat, but yeah, absolutely. I could get that posted.
Drum. It's working as intended then. That's
I
funny.
just posted all of our DAO revenue over the past 4 weeks in the chat as
Yeah,
well.
I hadn't had a
Just so
chance to
people
post it
have
in
it.
yet. Otherwise, I would have. I don't
And that's
want.
as of this morning.
I don't want to. I don't want to make this something where I don't know. I just want you all to feel like it's easy to contribute and participate in this, and not me with a special PowerPoint slide that only I know how to
Yeah,
do.
100%. But I could easily take like that data for like DAO revenue, and I could post it like every week in DAO announcements, and just so people could see like what the latest data is,
Okay.
and just
All right.
credit Steven for
I think
his
that's a
incredible work.
great thing to put in the X. Yeah. Or you already planning on doing that? Yeah.
Ooh, that is a good
Oh,
idea.
100%. That would be great.
That's a
And
great
yeah,
idea.
that's one of the rules that we have for the X account too, is essentially if it's a DAO announcement in Discord, we'll automatically turn it into some kind of X post. So if we're talking about it here, people can see it elsewhere too.
Right. That's one of the things we voted on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Okay. Working groups. Is that one on hold pending what we talked about earlier?
Well, so basically, Swagner said that he didn't want to. Basically, he didn't want to be like referencing the foundation. That's not exactly what he said, but that's you know basically the gist of it.
Oh,
But
because
he
it
said that we could lean
referenced.
on them
Okay.
when necessary, and I was trying to explain to him that that's essentially the way it's intended to be, is where the council would handle everything, but they would basically have an authority, so that if there was something that we couldn't do, or if there was something that we did wrong, that they would have the authority to take care of something like a KYC that is over our head, or like I said, if we approved a group that was, you know, we didn't see the red flags, but they can see that there's an issue with that, maybe a legal issue or a regulatory issue or something,
Mm-hmm.
that they could cancel it. But it seems like, uh, you know, the conversation didn't really go from there. So the way I'm thinking is that we might just have to, yeah, it's definitely on hold, but I would say we're probably going to need to end up kind of putting a bit of a ceiling on it, like a lower ceiling, and just saying, these working groups have to be, they can't be overly consequential to the point where the council can know for sure this group is fine. That way we don't have to write the foundation in there as some sort of stopgap.
Okay. I
Yeah,
think
Yeah,
what
I
I
think
exactly.
we
hear is
can.
But
Go
I
ahead,
think that
Lindsay.
I think we should follow through with the conversation with Swagner, because I still feel like there's a miscommunication where, the way I wrote it was, um, the foundation has all of the authority. Like the entire PIP is basically written in the format as the foundation can do all of it, right? But then it says the council can do any of these um, except for, well, it says the council could do any of the above, and then below that, there's a couple things that only the foundation could do, which is the the KYC, for example.
Okay.
So the way
What I
that
have written
he's
down.
saying he wants it and the way it's written is doing the same thing, but I think there's a miscommunication. I think he's interpreting it a little differently than how it is, or he just doesn't want the foundation mentioned in that way. I don't know.
I put per automata feedback, awaiting SAC 2 to rework the idea so that it isn't leaning on the foundation except for KYC, KYB, and normal regulatory checks. How does that sound?
I think that's fair to say as of right now.
Yeah.
And that's what Drum said too in the chat. I think he's able to
I'm
move
reading the chat.
with some small rewording. Yep. I
Okay, cool.
think we're kind of all in agreement.
Cool. All right. Should I change it from Signal? Because it doesn't feel like he's the primary POC on this.
Oh yeah. I'll take care of that.
Bodie? Okay. All right. Next one was send out community poll and DAO chat and screenshot blast his first tweet.
Yeah, we did first tweet.
We
The purpose
did.
of the poll was to figure out when the best time would be to host meetings. Rather than doing that, I just talked to the community team directly, and they gave feedback that really when we're doing it right now is probably the best possible time that we could do it. And for time zones.
Yeah.
That for the global community, sometime around 2 or 3 p.m., right when they time the brews, as far as time of day, is probably the best time to catch as many people as possible.
Okay.
So
Well,
all taken care of.
Cool. All right. So create a X account per AI number. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It was. Dang it. Oh, there it is. AI number 4. And tweeted. Or posted. Dang it. First X post. And then I'll just link the first one that you did with that dope picture. It said, start Let's DAO was 0 on X. So if you have not followed us, give it a follow, because that is where communication will happen. As in addition
And
to
as you're saying
Discord.
that, I'm reposting your link to this current live chat on X.
I need to repost this too.
And it is the Star Atlas DAO Council is on X, not the
Yes.
DAO.
Correct. Star Atlas DAO Council. Thank you. Good correction.
All
right, we are done with that
too
one.
fast with our AI photos.
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean me.
I drove from my
Emperor.
house to Easter lunch, and I missed just enough.
Emperor, you're up next with create RFP language and specs for tool creation.
Working on it, and I'm glad Donathan is here. I'm gonna probably be engaging. I gotta figure out some nuances and technical stuff before I move to the next stage of that. So, in process.
Okay, so ongoing and so awaiting coordination, sounds like, with the automata team. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Sounds good. Donovan, we're coming for you.
Somebody anyway.
All right. And the last one was obtain council domain and email. I think the discussion that we've had, Carlos, I'm sure, is going to put in the chat as well, that the discussion's ongoing. Is what it sounds like. With automata.
Yep.
Well, I think first we're going to communicate with Foundation. Yeah, because they reached out to us. They gave us a little bit of a string to pull on.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, remember they
Yeah,
put
with
those
that
people in the
that quote.
Oh, okay. I was referencing our internal meeting and then what happened after that. Okay, I got you now. All right. So Foundation, did they end up providing it?
No.
Okay, to
I'm
provide
working on it.
quote for services, discussion ongoing with automata to ensure alignment of intent, alignment of way forward. Bada bing, bada bizzle. All right, we're done with that one. done with the action
Yeah,
items.
yeah. Carlos says without Dan, we're a bit limited at this point. So
Okay, got it.
Kinda putting a kink
Stakeholder
in things.
diagram. Segwood is now under Startless Community. It's no longer, that's where it needs to be. And do we have any other additions we need to make? When the working groups come
think so.
I
out,
don't think
will
so.
it be under the council?
Depends on how it ultimately comes out. If it ends up being
Okay.
like subcommittees, that's most likely going to be under us. No, it would have to be because there's
It would
nobody
have to
else.
be because there's no one else
It's
for
either-
it to be under.
Yeah, the
Okay.
council's
Yeah,
definitely gonna
anything that
that for sure.
All right,
100%.
gotcha. Then I'll put it as a dark, what is this? Dark faded, like the other ones, until it comes into fruition, and then it'll become real.
perfect.
Cool.
So, do we need to add something about the is this so this is groups and entities. Okay, so we wouldn't be adding something like the what was it, the Iris's bounty into this. That wouldn't be applicable on this page. Just
I
trying to better
No.
didn't think it would.
This is like specific
It won't be.
Yeah, these are
I'd
people.
almost consider,
Yeah.
I'd almost consider Iris's bounty, DAO casters, like all this other stuff that could like kick off. Like, I almost put that under the realm of like working groups. There's essentially something passed and happened, or something got created, and it's now this new entity that's floating around tied to the DAO. It all ultimately just rolls up to council, to try to figure out and manage
Yeah.
and stay on top of, because there's no one else to do it.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, gotcha.
We gotta add Donovan to the automata section. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this one behind the meeting minutes. I think that's going to be part of our discussion.
Okay.
The
Just make a
treasury.
dedicated Donovan slide on the stakeholder diagram.
Yeah.
Right.
The treasury. I just copy pasted what you sent. Put in the chat.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Okay. We'll have to work out like expenses, revenue, how we can depict that. Probably a combination of these two will end up. Okay. All right, let's move on to the meeting minutes. I feel like I need to be starting with this first because we already had to discuss. All right, first one up, Emperor, is DAO Council goals.
Yeah, I'd probably just jump to my bottom one because that's really what it is. I should have just changed
This one?
it.
Okay, we'll do it first. That's fine.
And we can erase the council goals one right
Council
now.
goals?
We don't have to
All
talk
right.
about that. I can not. It's kind of off the agenda for now.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it was just we just talked about those financial tools. There's all kinds of informational things that could be created to streamline stuff. But I'm kind of, and I'd like to send out an RFP to have our own DAO council dashboard, if you will. We have to figure out all kinds of stuff with that, but I would like to send out RFPs so people could put out a PIP that says, hey, the DAO council would like this tool created. It would be this much money, and then we can hire a freelancer to do that on our behalf and then have it on our own something. I don't know what that is, own server, own something, but we control it anyway. So that's some of the tools that I would like to create. What is first, I would probably say, and this is probably, definitely give your input, guys, the financial dashboard. Going to this website and getting this information and going to this website and getting this information. If there's just one landing page that we can have without recreating a wheel and without creating a bunch of work for the team, I think the first thing would be the financial one. But I don't know what I don't know, and I need some technical input. So when I say that, I want to know, like, if we as a DAO create a tool, I want it to be cross-compatible with whatever the team is building as much as it can be, because eventually the DAO is going to be its all completely own thing. And so I don't know about like programming languages. I don't know like some of that language to put in there. And this is kind of what I was referencing. I just need some help from somebody to help me figure that
So
technical,
right now
technical stuff out.
on the DAO page, there's a section on the it's in like the more section next to the old pips and stuff. That basically has some of these ecosystem type charts. And
Mhm.
and it's made by Automata. They host it on the DAO page, so it's centralized. It would do everything. It has the foundation to do everything that we want it to do. And they specifically said that if anybody wants anything added on there, to reach out to them. And so as council, we're in a great position to be like, hey, I think this would be a huge value add for that web page. It'd be something that we would host on our weekly meetings. And they've already offered the openly to build that, not even for council, just for the community in general. And they have the framework already there. They have the hosting, they have there's tabs, it's really clean.
Who offered it, Bodie?
It was it was whoever's in charge of economics. It was I don't
Chris?
remember. Yeah, it was Chris. You just gotta talk to Chris.
Chris from economics offered it.
Yeah, he's partnering with somebody from engineering or something to build out that specific page.
Xenor?
Yeah,
probably.
and
I think it was Chris and Xenor, yeah.
And to me, that's a part of it, but there's more to it that we need beyond just money in, money out, like the DAO casters. Like if we could just, asking the team to have these big lifts is not necessarily ideal. So I guess
Yeah,
Well,
not only
doing
that,
some of
they
it,
just won't do it. They'll just say no.
Yeah,
right?
no, but that's the thing is they offer. So what they built that for is to give the community access to granular, up to date information. Which is basically what we want. We want. They want the same thing. They want that transparency, just like we want the transparency. So, if we can say, hey, I think this specific, yeah, like let's look at some of these charts here. It's
Donovan just
and we don't
said
have to
he
get
built it.
into it now, but that's what we need to figure out is so we have
yeah, it's that one right there.
Yeah, and
So, I
we
mean, they
have
got
Steven Seagal's stuff. Yeah,
so, and they're
it's just
totally open to adding stuff in here. Is that if it adds value, if it adds transparency, and like they want to develop this dashboard over time to include
You
more.
actually taught me something today, Bodie. I didn't even know this was here. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, if there's that people need to see, like we're trying to provide the public with information that we think should be made available.
This looks to me like it's being pulled probably from Flipside or some other tool and kind of like reposting itself.
Well, so the thing with this
Like
one is
Steven's stuff might be able to get uploaded to here too.
well,
That'd be interesting to think.
I think what's different is this one is live, and that's why they wanted to centralize it here, is because I think they're using their own infrastructure here. Like this is like there's a distinction, whereas like the flip side, you have to reload it and it pulls the data off the blockchain. Like this, I think this is like some internal tooling that this is basically the stuff that they use internally to track all their own stuff.
That's cool.
They're creating these tools for the public because it adds value, and so yeah, I think we can totally align with these guys. And
You're right.
everything.
It might be less of a lift than we thought it was.
Yeah.
right,
Well,
and it very well may, and that's why I started the conversation in the other channel with more of the deeper team members to try to just get a point person and do some of that, and that's just one of the tools I'm talking about, and but yeah, and we don't need to to go into the nitty gritty of it necessarily, but that was why I put that on there, is to have these conversations and just start some of that stuff. And that being said, this is like the econ part of it. There's other tools, like one thing that I think would be really important for prosperity's sake. So you might know about this. It would be really good to have control of our own information, so it doesn't get lost. And you could, the TLDRs of the Discord conversations, I would love to be able to just automatically do a recap every week. It just does it. It puts it in that podcast format and it uploads it. Now, if we had our own tool that just did that. That's some of the other tools that I'm talking about.
There's
Things like
bots
that.
that we could definitely add to Discord that already exist that would do that. And all we really need to do is get the community teams like permission, like asking them like, can you add this? And if they added it, like all of a sudden we'd be able to do it. It's pretty cool. I looked into it the other day, like,
Yeah, and that's
how can I turn Discord into something I can listen to and be caught up on instead of having to read? And there's like several great bots out there for it. We just need community team to be willing to add them to Discord. So yeah, we should almost make that an action item.
Somebody
Like Lance is already
talking my language.
somebody was doing that on their own in the DAO chat a while ago. Did you guys see that? They were just like taking
it was John. It was John Ennis. He was doing it, and then I know King Brian has said he's looking at doing something. But we,
they were
as
doing
a
it manual
council,
with like copy pasta.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it just
so
automatically uploaded to like
Right.
So
our
what's
own
the
YouTube
action
channel
item?
or something.
What am I writing down?
well, that's what I'm saying. So
Be cool.
the tool creation, I don't know what the action, that's what I'm saying. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
So the action item would be to get an RFP out, which is
that's why you
I'm,
have RFP
trying
language
to
in
do.
it. Okay.
Yeah, because
All right, I
I
see
want other people to build it for us, and so it's just for us, and we can use it on behalf of the DAO to get TLDRs like in a really sleek format.
All right,
but in order to do that, I need to know like how to speak the jargon. Like, is it just some Tapper Monkey link? Like, there's so many technicalities to making it so we own it and it being automated that I don't know what I don't know. So action items, that's
determine strategy
get
for tool
verbiage.
creation additions for the SAC2 dashboard.
Sure.
Okay. And as part of that, we want to perhaps add it to the ecosystem dashboard, maybe.
No, we're just going
But
to pull information off of theirs and put it on ours. If they'll do it, great. But the last thing, all emperors want control. Stop it, Drum. I just don't want to put work on the team that we can't put work on the team. I just need to know, hey, if we build this tool and you guys ever want to use it, is it cross-compatible?
Okay. Pursuing creation of RFP to engage community on tool creation.
Sure.
Okay. And then as you're doing that, you're also, that would be coordination, not just with the Automata team, but also the community to figure out what words you need to be using.
Correct.
All right. And community to determine precise language needed for, I don't know, not good optics, just like figuring out what the heck we're doing.
Compatibility.
Yeah, compatibility.
Sure, that'll work.
Because if we're building it, there's no reason to not build it and make it so the team can use it in the future. Or I don't know.
Yeah,
like I
that
said,
makes sense. All right, Emperor, you now have that action item, and I think it's pretty. Determine strategy for tool creation additions, or just tool creations for SAC2 dashboard.
Congratulations, Ep. You just became the CTO for the council.
Yeah, that is dangerous as shit.
All right. Cool.
I think that's it for my agenda item. It's good enough.
All right. Cool. All All right, that one's good to go. Signal, swim lanes.
Yeah, I just think there's a ton of value in trying to find ways to break out individual tasks and roles for us. Uh, I think there's going to be a million and one tasks that we all overlap on. Like obviously, like a PIP review. Every single one of us is going to hop into like a chat and go through the PIP and create a bunch of notes, helping community members, trying to promote governance and do all these different things. There's a lot of tasks that we all have to be a part of, but I think it would be nice if we each had like default that, hey, if nobody's tapping on you on the shoulder at this exact moment, like what is it that you default to doing? I think Drum, like on like maybe the next slide that he created, had some pretty good ideas about like things we could all be doing, and maybe we could go through and discuss that and get individual feedback.
Okay, I've got it up right now.
And we're gonna run out of time, but I think the right side would probably be more. Correct me if I'm wrong, Signal. I know.
Yeah,
Drum,
that's
you created
Drum's
this,
ideas on swim lanes. And granted, this is what he pulled together just off of his thoughts, but I actually thought it was really great and it made a lot of sense for our strengths and weaknesses. So I'm at least happy with what he's got for me, which was like announcements, engagement, social media. That doesn't mean that's all I do. It just means when I have nothing else directly in front of me in terms of tasking, that's what I should be focused on.
Okay.
Yeah, have you had a chance to? You probably haven't had a chance to read it. Have you, Lancer and Bodie?
I read my portion, but I didn't get to read the
I'm
rest of
reading
it.
it right now.
Okay.
What is PIP disbursement? What does that mean? That's like escalating it to automata and foundation.
I'm assuming what he meant by that was like getting the team the numbers they were asking for the community meetup thing, and you and Drum were going back and trying to help.
Disbursement.
Yeah,
Reaching out to
disbursement.
them.
That could be also tied to
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
treasury management and tracking as well.
Yeah,
Like,
disbursement to me normally means payments.
yeah, it's like if you're paying DAO casters out of like a multi-sig, like
dispersing
tracking
funds.
that and figuring it out. And
Yeah, that's fine. I'm cool with that. And record keeping would be like you said, like getting the data each week for
yeah,
treasury and stuff.
yeah, these payments went here to these people for this task.
Yeah,
do you want
ultimately, hopefully that will be automated, but in the meantime,
Yeah,
who I can do the PIP escalation too if nobody else has that, because that's kind of a light load, to be honest, between those two things.
yeah,
You
and
mean
mind you, we're all
escalation.
doing multiple things that overlap. These are just like your default tasks.
Oh, maybe that's Emperor standardization. Oh no. Yeah, throw in the PIP escalation. I just need to dial in the format, but Drum knows how to do it, so he can just
What's
show
PIP
me, and once I know,
escalation?
I can do it. Huh?
What does PIP escalation mean?
Well, I don't know if that's the right word, but just once it's ready to vote, sending it to the foundation to get approved, sending it to
Going through markdowns and stuff like that, making sure it's now. For
yeah.
people who don't know, like markdown, because I had to learn this myself. So when we're communicating on Discord and like you have your PIP posted, it's not as simple as going copy paste to then put that in the correct format so it lands on like the DAO website for voting. There's a process called markdown where essentially you're taking all of the language and everything that's inside that PIP and you're putting it into the correct formatting for the website for it to post. So that's one of the
bunch of
steps.
nerd
Like,
stuff.
yeah, it is. It is a bunch of nerd stuff. But
Drum,
like, even after your thing gets approved as a draft, there's multiple additional steps and little bits of work that have to be gone through before it's live up on the website and people can click yes or no on it.
So
Okay.
Drum said he'll take the PIP, the escalation thing, and then he can fall back on me if needed.
The PIP advancement to the foundation.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, let's put sending pip to foundation. Okay. And
And
Carlos has consistency and updates upkeep. Is that related to pips?
1 second here.
Nope. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I got him.
No, you didn't.
Oh, it was icy. There, I got him.
Got it.
Okay. So consistency and updates. Is that pip consistency and updates?
Yeah, that's my assumption.
Okay. I'm
it's
not
at
sure
the
what.
end of drums, put and automata.
Okay. I want to hear more about what pip consistency and updates means. I don't think I understand what that means. But Bodhi, you're the
That might
pip
be hard to get,
administrator, whereas Drum Carlo. Oh, the knowledge base. I bet you he meant the knowledge
Yeah.
base. Okay. Got it. Okay, upkeep of or updates to knowledge base. There. Carlos, I'm pretty sure that's what that was referring to. Yeah. Knowledge based language.
Yep.
All right, cool. Julio,
Perfect.
and then Bodhi, you are going to be our pip admin manager. Pip disbursement and record keeping. I think disbursement means probably need another word for
So
that.
just reaching out to people, like, hey, what's your address?
Pip
You
author
know,
engagement.
get your
Yeah, doing the legwork on coordination and lineup of those things. And again, just for community clarity, in those individual cases, everything would be sitting inside like a council multisig. Usually a council multisig also tied to an automata employee has been like the standard for some of these things in the past. So when we say like Bodhi coordinating these things, we're not saying like Bodhi's just holding a bunch of shit and handing it out to people. It's he's doing the legwork to line it up so that we can all go through the multi-sig together, and we know where it's going, what to do. We've got all the information lined up, et cetera, as well as record keeping of what happened with it after the fact.
Okay.
I think it's important to note that we, as a council, do not have a multi-sig, nor will we ever potentially. That's something we're working on right now. The multi-sig is through Autonoma. I think that's important for people to know. We're working on potentially having some of that.
We have a bunch of proposals coming up that'll just require it, just because the foundation isn't going to sit there and cut like 20 checks a week to people all over the place. So proposals that require funding of recurring nature, where you've got to stay on top of things, keep track of all this stuff, likely wind up getting dropped into separate individual multi-sig accounts for funding. And then your handy dandy volunteer counselors are helping to coordinate that and handle all the logistics of making sure that people get what they need.
Okay.
Well, I like my job. Thanks, Drum. I feel like you did a good job of kind of picking our strengths.
Same, meaning I didn't see this before he showed it to me. I was like, hey, you know what? I think you got me pegged. Talking with people and making sure we're getting engagement and good conversations and trying to keep people updated and communicated with and doing outreach.
Coordinating with pip authors and record keeping. Is there another way we should word that?
Well, it's not necessarily coordinating with pip offers. It's mostly the payments, right? So facilitating
pip author
payment information.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
Like all the legwork of like, where's this going? That like, what information do we have? You know, like tied to this, being able to take all that, turn to something that we can then report back to all the other voters in the DAO of here's where this went, here's what it was, here's what happened with it.
All right, got it.
Well,
Gathering and facilitating of pip payment information.
There was another. It was the part you just took away. I should know my own job, but
Record keeping.
right. Thank you.
It's
uh,
after you
and then,
facilitate, making sure that you can communicate. Facilitation followed by communication.
yeah.
Here's what happened with all this stuff.
So facilitating
And
of PIP
then,
payments and record keeping of PIP payment information.
Yep.
and then that include, and also the updating the weekly DAO revenue
Yeah, perfect.
thing. Yeah.
Essentially
revenue
council
slide?
treasurer.
Council what?
I said essentially council treasurer. Figuring out if something's going out, who's it's going to, what information do we need to gather, how do we line this stuff up, taking all of that information so we can implement what we need to implement, then being able to communicate, after the fact and go, hey, everybody, here's what happened. Here's what went into the DAO. Here's what went out of the DAO.
The PIP
Here's
treasurer.
where the stuff that went out went. Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Discord structure. All of us are applying tags. Promotion. Promotion, like post promotions.
I think it's just about making sure that we're fostering engagement, meaning like we're in chats, we're talking with people, we're making ourselves available, contributing to conversations.
And the reviewing of PIPs. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Applying tags,
All things
fostering
that we all do
engagement,
together.
and reviewing of PIPs.
Right. Because there's no way
Okay.
to swim lane PIP review. It's not, oh, well, this is the one guy who does it. That's all of us.
And should I say curation of DAO Discord content?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. All right. PIP structure and standardization manager, Emperor, you taking that on?
Yeah, what it says right there is good enough.
Okay. DAO research manager.
This is actually an awesome role for you.
It sounds like the trophy you give to the last place person.
It isn't though.
Research and comparison from the DAO perspective, including foundation mechanics, implementation of successful and unsuccessful experiences from the Solana DAO ecosystem, as well as Web3 at large.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of information out there that we can learn from. Like that was one thing that JP brought to the table. That it wasn't always applicable, like his experience, but there was a lot of times when we were like, kind of at a crossroads, and then he was like, "This is what this other place does," and we're like, "Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense." But he only knew that.
Literally your whole thing since I've met you has been, here's how all of these other DAOs function and are structured. Here's how they partner. Here's the programs they've implemented. Here's what's worked, what didn't work. Here's what Monkey DAO did. Here's what Sandbox DAO did.
You're not
and
wrong.
Finding ways that we could implement them here. That's a massive task. Yeah, that's not a participation trophy.
Yeah, I think the reason I said that is because it's not altogether clear to me that that's what's needed. I thought it was important when I first got here, but as we talked about, maybe I need to focus my efforts elsewhere into more directly applicable things that our DAO is used to.
Yeah, well, now there is.
If you picked a thing, what would you like to be involved with? Let's do it that way. Knowing you, what's the best way to use Lancer if you had a swim lane? And some tasks are probably crazy to put under just one person. So don't be afraid if it overlaps.
Yeah. There is a couple floating around. There's honestly the PIP escalation. There a lot of these are kind of really well aligned.
I'm strongest in structuring and formatting, but let me think about it and talk with you all over the course of the week. I do like the research manager thing. I just don't want my efforts to go to things that are not directly applicable. That's not tailored to this DAO. Put it that way.
That's fair. But the one blind spot we do have, meaning like It's both your strength and weakness and our strength and weakness. Your strength is how all this shit has happened everywhere else, all over the place. You know about all the partnerships, connections, people
Yeah.
that we could work with, things we could do. We don't know any of that shit. You know, we know Star Atlas. You know how this works, but
Fair.
it does feel like an area that you add a crap ton of value to the
I do
team.
agree with Drum here that it is outside of scope, like you're saying, but it is more valuable than it seems. Like we definitely got a lot of value just from understandings that came from other DAOs, or and a lot of times it was like mistakes that they had made. Like we were like, oh yeah, they tried this and that did not work very good for them, so let's not even think about going down that road.
Yeah.
And it's only because we had somebody in the council that had that insight. Like I don't have any of that insight. I don't follow. I don't follow any of those projects. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I have no idea.
I think
It's like Spock in Star Trek. You know, like we're thinking of doing this. You know, like what are the flaws with this? And then
Yeah.
just spitting out this in the great histories of all the DAOs. Because this was attempted twice before and it failed for these different reasons is
Yeah.
massive. And you could probably spend
Yeah.
20 hours a week just doing stuff like that.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I think if we instead of the word research, I use the word interoperability. I think that'll suit me.
Awesome.
take some time and mull it
Yeah.
over, see what you want
Yeah,
to
I'll
put on
mull
there.
it over.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
then the last one before we probably close out and move on to office hours. Format and voting preparedness. Carlos is talking about the final stage of pit formatting after draft approval sets the markdown.
Yeah. He's
Right.
essentially the last mile guy, handling all the random roadblocks and tasks and admin stuff involved in. We've all agreed, like the community voted and supported this thing. Then it became a final draft. We all reviewed the final draft and we all agreed, like, okay, this is ready to go up to a vote. All the crazy nonsense that's involved between us agreeing on it and it actually being something that goes up on a website that we can click yes or no on.
Didn't we have that up top though?
We do.
We got to remove that from up top.
Yes, we do. That's under
Yeah.
knowledge base manager. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
that now.
send the pip
All
to
right.
that, yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
also drum. Yeah. So it just overlapped itself.
Oh my. Okay, there we go.
Cool.
I feel like that's a core asset of everything we do. So
But it's not something that we need to do together. Meaning,
that like
like,
an
I haven't been
overwhelming
involved in that yet, and I don't want to be. Like,
is that an overwhelming
I
task where it's unfair to put it all on drum?
I don't know if
Well,
he's
He's the one that
volunteering
wrote
for
the
it.
thing.
Yeah,
He
right.
did.
It's just the
If he's
format.
volunteering for it, yeah.
You just copy and paste the pip, put it into an app, and then just export it as a different format. That's basically it. And like
I can tell you this much: I don't have any burning desire to do markdowns and reformatting of documents so that they can fit the formatting for the website, and then do the comms back and forth, getting it uploaded. That's the least sexy thing in the world to me. So I'm
I
very
want to
glad
do
that
it
someone else wants to
at
do
least
it.
once. I want to do it at least
Yeah.
once so I understand the pain that he goes through.
I promise you will. Then we'll make sure that.
Ideally we all know how to do it so that we can help the next council, because that was something
Yeah.
like I hadn't done it, and like I tried it the other day and like I messed it up, you know. So it would be nice if we all knew how to do it.
All right.
Because
Yeah, fair.
that way we can, you know, that at the very least we can help the next council, you know, get up.
100%. Yeah.
All right, next week when he's here, he's able to speak for himself in real time. Then, yeah, I'd like to ask what he thinks about that. Yeah, he's saying in the chat he'll definitely let us know if he feels it's too much, because this feels like a very like one of the essential things we're here for is the pip, moving the pip along to vote.
Well, that was one of the things I said, because my lift is pretty light. If he needs to fall back on me, he can.
I see
Yeah,
what you
on
mean.
that.
Okay, then I'll put
Yeah.
here in red chat, and we'll hammer this out by next week probably. Pip preparation, and then I'll put it in red question mark. so that we know we need to talk about it next time.
Sounds good.
See if he's busy or whatever, I can do it.
Pit preparation and voting manager. Cool. All right. I think that was good. I really appreciate that discussion.
Yeah, I think it's cool
And
just
I'm
even
just- I'm
having something
laughing.
where like we all know what to fall back to.
I'm laughing about my part just because of, the learning that's been taking place within the last 2 weeks. It's just
You should consider it a pretty big thing that Drum himself says this is a value and we want Lancer to do it.
I do actually consider that. Yeah. All right. Cool. Oh man, wait, we're a team. We're a team. All right, so swim lanes. Cool. And does anyone else have anything like to close with before we move on to office hours?
I don't think so.
No, I think this is a really great
I will
review, and we're getting
publicly
a lot better at getting through these.
I will say publicly that this is a massive freaking job. Like, I don't know how many hours that we've all spent. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I think we're ready to go to the office hours.
Yeah, if I had to pull the group real quick, like just so our audience maybe knows, like in meetings and calls alone,
I think we should.
how many hours do you think we logged this week just in meetings where we're talking like this?
I don't know, probably close to 10, 11.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's a very significant amount of time.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Bodie?
Oh, I just thought he had deleted the stuff on the left, but he copied the slide first. So
Right. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that wasn't lost.
No, I'm making it to where we can
Perfect.
follow along with what we did one week and we didn't get to the scope for the council yet, and we'll get to that next sort of thing. Trying to
Perfect.
There was
save
one
my
thing I wanted
sanity.
to say, but it'll come back to me. I forgot.
Slide went over each person's swim lane. Need to discuss red text to cement areas of responsibility. There.
And in
Done,
case
done.
anyone's interested in running for council in the future, that's probably a good thing to know. At least so far, it looks like it might add, 10 to 12 hours a week to your time. 90% of that time is spent in meetings, either with the council and the foundation, the council and automata, or the council and the council, just trying to get aligned on things. You've got a lot of big organizations and groups and interests here, a lot at stake, a lot that if we did something wrong, like it could be really problematic.
Yeah.
Half of your time, in fact, way more than half of your time, like 80% of your time, is spent figuring out how not to accidentally fuck something up by getting aligned with all these other groups and bodies. Like, hey, here's what we're looking to do. Okay, let's talk to these people about it. Hey, here's what we're looking to do. All right, now let's talk with that group about it. Getting everyone all on the same page so that we can then take an action. So maybe
Stakeholder
20%
alignment.
of your time is like internal ideas, thoughts, initiatives, things that you're doing. A lot of it is just talking and talking and talking to make sure that you're aligned with both the foundation and automata, and that everyone's on the same page before we take the next step on something.
Bodie,
Just for
before you
transparency,
forget
if
what
you're
you were
looking
going to
at the
say
job.
again.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I thought I just remembered what I was gonna say. Like Emperor said, it was to do with the Discord moderation. So in the first council, we decided we didn't want to moderate Discord. And then we've kind of been lightly discussing whether we make some solid rules that we can then give to the mods, or if we actually want to do some level of moderation. I don't know if we should discuss it right now or if we should do it in our private meeting, or maybe even during the public section in whatever, half an hour. But that's something I just wanted to kind of bring up.
Yeah, it's really not a
Yeah, I
bad
think we
open
keep it
forum
on our
topic.
radar.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah. I don't know if it warrants a discussion right now, like you said, but yeah, we were lightly talking about it, so I wanted to kind of figure out what we wanted to do with that, but not a big deal.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
maybe
I
let's start
definitely
here
want to
'cause we've
respect
got time.
the audience. Well, I just want to respect the audience, and we told them it'd be an hour for office hours. We can talk about it in office hours if we want, but we're already 14 minutes over what we promised. So
We will close our meeting.
Maybe we can even talk
and
about it with
open
them. 'Cause
office hours.
it'd be nice to get their input too, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we are officially opening office hours. Ready, set, go.
Yeah. So first things first, does
If any-
anyone have
if
anything
it-
for us?
Office
just
hours.
lost another one.
The first one is pre-reviewed PIP authors. Do we have anyone first who wants to speak from there?
We've got no
Nobody's in here.
pre-reviewed.
Maybe we should just say
Nobody's
PIP
in here
authors.
that has one.
Yeah, so we're right on to general Q&A.
How about posted PIP idea and draft authors? Can we do that?
It should just be the ones that got the 25 thumbs up that are ready for our review. That's how we did it normally.
Yeah, because we can't.
I
Yeah, we
put
can't
that
really-
I put that category as number 2, like in general Q&A, meaning essentially we want to give you priority. If we've pre-reviewed your stuff, you're in you're trying to get ready to get this thing voted upon, and you want to make tweaks to it. And if you just have an idea that's like posted and you want to talk about it, I would just put that in like Q&A and other discussions.
So PIP draft authors then?
No, it's
They
before
take priority.
It's before they get to draft phase. It's when they're in the idea phase and they get the 25 thumbs up. That's when they get their first review.
Oh, Signal is a PIP author.
I guess. Yeah.
Yes, Signal, do you have anything?
No. I'm not going to use this time to talk about my picks.
All right, if you would anyone would like to unmute and speak, please go ahead.
I'm technically a PIP author too.
Yes, sure you are.
Mine is on pause. And if you don't want to turn your mic off, feel free to ask him in the text down below in the chat. I know some people don't like unmuting.
Golo Pometa, Brujo, Kindar, Donovan. Thank you for coming.
First review is after draft submission.
Yeah.
First review is after draft submission. Not all approved ideas have a draft. Oh, that will be like some of the non-actionable ones. Okay.
Yeah, the hierarchy.
Well, isn't that but we have to, maybe I'm getting this wrong, but don't we have to approve them before they can put it to a draft? Or no, we only do the review in the phase.
Correct. It's
okay,
it just hits the 25. It hits the 25 thumbs up and then it moves to draft. They are responsible for doing that, but
I'm not hearing anyone.
Even if it's not actionable, they go to the draft phase.
Well, if they get 25 thumbs up,
25 thumbs
that's
up
something we
can't
do
do
need to
anything.
figure out.
You could have 1,000. Well, no, we posted an answer to that already. You could have 1,000 thumbs up on an inactionable PIP, and it doesn't do anything with it. Nothing can change the status of a PIP that's inactionable, other than the author doing something to change it. Where it's
well, that's the thing though, is if the author can escalate it to a draft anyways, then they could put it in. They could put that unactionable PIP to a draft.
No, it would just get deleted.
Yeah.
Make Dom eat
Yeah,
a
they
sock
could do it, but it
is
would
an
get
example
frozen.
of an inactionable PIP that got community support. Unban Signal is an example of an inactionable PIP that got community support. No, there is no final stage for that. It's okay, well, the community likes it as an idea, but it can't move into a draft because it can't be executed, even if you voted yes for it.
But if we're not
You know what's
reviewing
really
them, hey, this is, whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I had that mixed up.
What? Yeah. You know what we forgot, guys?
Hmm.
This has been such a long week I forgot that we came up with that system that Signal did, adding the inactionable, actionable.
Well, that's what I was saying. We literally, it's posted.
I forgot. I forgot to go over that in the council
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, that was one of
That
our
is an action
accomplishments.
that we took.
So if you
Yes, that.
if you put up an idea, we can actually respond to it pretty quickly by at least designating it right away as this is something the DAO could actually do, so it's actionable, or this is something the DAO can't do, so it's inactionable. Essentially, all that means is if it's inactionable, it means even if we wanted to, even if we raised this thing to a vote and people voted yes for it, the DAO physically couldn't make it happen anyway. Great examples of that are like game design decisions. Someone saying you should be able to use Polis to boost the shields on your spaceship. Great, man. 50 people could love that. And even if we all voted yes on it, it wouldn't change anything. We can't do it.
Drop your weapons.
Oh shit.
Now it's a party. We got St. Just.
Kindly surrender your valuables.
Done.
He won't have a word to say now that Saint and Signal are here. We're done for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm leaking everything you say to the quartermaster.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's actually,
Did you have
a great
anything?
example. I think Make Dom Eat a Suck was St. Just's pip.
Did it actually
And that came
transpire? You were an eyewitness, weren't you?
I was.
No, of the sock eating. I was an eyewitness of the sock eating. Signal was not there.
The cake
I
at
didn't
Vegas.
feel like he has to digest it. He can throw it up afterwards. That's fine.
Oh, he digested it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Was it an edible sock? Did you cheat me?
We cheated you hard.
You traitors.
It was an edible sock. It was a cake that somebody had made. Who had? I can't remember who had it made, but
that's a rug. The
it was a
pip
fondant.
Make Dom eat a cake.
Fondant.
Well, that guy is a Judas.
But yeah, do you guys have any like Q&A for us, things that you want to talk about? Otherwise, we'll go into like other discussions, and like I definitely want to talk about what Bodhi brought up. Do you guys have anything for us first? Awesome. Going once, going twice. Bodhi, talk about moderation in Discord.
Well, first of all, if anybody does have anything that they want to, pitch in and say, or even change the subject on, that's totally fine. But so on the first council, we decided that we didn't want to actively moderate and mostly it was because we wanted to avoid any sort of like bad impressions. Yeah, exactly. Censorship or more. Yeah, I guess it is just, moderation is definitionally censorship, right? But we didn't want that to like discourage people from, we didn't want to give people the wrong idea, and make people think that they were being, targeted or whatever the case may be, and then that lead to, less people engaging. So that's why we decided to instead, the only thing that council would do would be to slow down the chat, like create a cooldown, which could, if we got on it early, we could slow down the chat, and that would, if you have to wait 5 minutes before, hitting back at somebody in a fight, the fight's not going to last very long. You're going to get tired of it. So that was kind of an easy way that we could, kind of get a little bit of a hold on the situation without any of the downsides. And then the for the more, I guess, like egregious scenarios, we brought in we created within the DAO channel like a channel for the council to reach out to the moderators where we could say, hey, this situation is getting out of hand. Like if we did actually need a moderator, we kind of have like a line there. That said, I just wanted to revisit because that was then, and now we're here. I wanted to just revisit, make sure if we still like that, if we're seeing that that's working well, totally fine with keeping
Well,
it going.
I fail to picture any other approach. I think this is the only viable approach because you don't want if you want to cool down tempers and mod somebody, then you always run the risk of them accusing you of gonna be biased or be courting your cronies, and you won't hold that position in perpetuity. Well, you could get revenge modded a couple months later. So I think this is the only way because it's a way to moderate the channel without modding any participant in particular. That's wise. I think that's the only actual approach you guys have. If you wanted somebody to be able to moderate actual people, perhaps you could vote, either have a PIP, either have the community vote or vote amongst yourselves to have an appointed moderator for the duration of your term. That could be elegant because they could take all the blame if they mess up and stir chaos in the community.
Well, I
I
think
tend to agree. I don't want to mod people, and I think it's a totally different job. And in our own internal chats, I've consistently said, our tags are red; they're not
Yeah.
orange. It's a
Yeah,
different job.
I would totally favor not modding at all. I think that's the most ideal scenario. I agree. But
Okay.
then
I agree.
you
I
also know
gotta
very well that this can get
douse
dirty.
now with water. It is bullet number 1 in our job description.
It is, and it's amazing how quickly it got
But we
reversed.
changed.
Can you read me
The power
the
was
job
given, and
description?
immediately it became controversial.
I don't even know
That's
the job
why I was
description.
surprised. Like I did hear what Sac1 thought about it, and doing the slowdown thing made sense. But also, from what I understand, the moderation tactic is still to delete messages, right? I don't think that's changed from when it was last discussed.
Yeah, but
So
they will call you out and they will demand explanations, and then you look bad if you don't provide these publicly.
Okay.
But if you can mod, if you are
You
strong,
did.
if you're a strong leadership person, like if you can keep your cool and mod professionally, can you?
Okay.
I can't.
I
couldn't.
personally
I'd
don't want to
abuse
be
it.
deleting messages. I don't like that.
I don't
I'm
think
not a fan
anyone
of
should
it.
ever delete anything that gets
Probably
put
not.
in our DAO channels.
No.
Well, I mean,
That way, if there's a consequence to it, you can look back and you can see why it happened. You can go, oh, wow, yeah, that was completely out of line. That's how that person got muted or timed out, or, this is what happened. I still don't think it should be on the council to have to make that call.
Probably not.
I agree. I do think though that we might, because I hope I'm not overstepping here, but there has been a little bit of some situations that have kind of fallen through the cracks because we don't have like any hard set rules. So it's kind of like the mods are saying, okay, well, how much, like what degree do you need us to mod here? And then we haven't really given them a solid answer other than the same rules as the rest of the Discord. I mean, that's pretty much a given, right? It goes without saying. But just to open it up for discussion, is there any additional outside of what's already the rules for the Discord, is there anything else that we want to any rule that we want to implement that, I guess further narrows the scope into the governance discussion? Because
Yeah, I'm
the Discord is
gonna
pretty open.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak on Drum's behalf, and I'm not gonna. I thought about trying to speak in his accent, but I'm not gonna do that. One of
No, try.
one of
Please
the
try.
no, shut your mouth. He put maybe we could create a Bohemian versus Brian governance ring and give them a role that grants them typing access to that chat and read-only access to the rest of the governance section when they cross the line.
It's pretty funny.
It would be funny.
You could create a chat that you just called like the Thunderdome, and it's permissioned. And like when two people are in a heated debate, like they get temporary access to that channel, and they're the only two people in it. And like
I like
maybe
it.
people can like vote afterwards who won.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah, it's playful. I enjoy that. De-escalates by ridiculing the situation, which is nice, elegant, very elegant.
I do like
You
the
could even
idea
create
of
like a Discord tag or role for somebody that's like temporary, kind of like Count With Us, that like
Couldn't,
Thunderdome
because you'd
Victor.
hold it all the time.
The
You could like
Thunderdome.
tag them with it. They won in the Thunderdome, so they get like a special tag until they lose in the Thunderdome again.
Unfortunately, the Thunderdome is currently occupied by Signal.
In perpetuity.
That's old Signal. I don't argue with anybody. Not my thing.
Okay.
What were
Interesting.
you
It's
going to
now
say,
me.
Lanzer?
It's now
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is that Carlos in the chat was talking about the when it comes to racism and derogatory words, demanded deleting. Is that the practice of the rest of the Discord?
If you do
Since,
that, no, it's
yeah.
not, unfortunately. If you do that, do it radical. Don't make exceptions and don't debate the community on it. That's the thing. If you want to do that, I would support that. But I believe the sentiment in the community is rather right-leaning, and they would very much hate that. So even if there is, in theory, these community guidelines where it says all that, with what you just mentioned, I don't believe the mods are aware it's happening. We have sexism issues, we've homophobia, we've got every sort of, well, racism not so much, actually, I think.
Okay.
I honestly think if
Almost,
you say something,
2 minutes ago.
I honestly think if you say something vile on our Discord, that's worthy of you being banned or removed or any number of things because of how absolutely offensive and extreme it is, I want it there. I want everyone to know exactly what the hell you said. I don't want to remove it. And so when we do have to take an action, everyone knows exactly why it was taken.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think there's any other approach. I want you to be remembered for what you said.
I agree with that. You'll just see
So
their name turn white from all their permissions being removed.
Drum or not Drum? Did he leave? He left.
No,
Drum's still
Drum's
here.
here.
That son of a bitch.
Oh, St. Just.
No, not
disappeared
Drum.
for a second.
Just because it does say on the rules of the Star Atlas Discord that we are guests of, like Drum said, we're just guests here. Says be civil. We have a zero tolerance policy for threats, toxicity, personal insults, defamation, harassment, racism, sexism, and any hateful or discriminatory speech or behavior.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, well, so let's throw out a hypothetical here, right? So when we're having a governance discussion, let's just talk about like you know, the old ad hominem, right? So if a conversation that's governance related turns into an ad hominem discussion, you know, normally in the rest of the server, that's fairly well tolerated unless it gets out of hand. And then it's said, okay, you guys have been going back and forth at each other's throats for a half an hour, take it to high risk zone. But in general, you know, a couple jabs here and there in pretty much any channel other than maybe like Foundation Room. But you can't really have a personal conversation there anyways. So it's pretty much tolerated everywhere. So do we want to have that same level of tolerance at this place? Because if we do, then there's really not much that we need to change about the whole thing.
Agreed.
I think it's tough. I mean, my personal opinion is we should have less tolerance in governance discussions.
I think
because
that
unlike a lot of other chats, we really badly need people to feel comfortable putting up ideas, giving suggestions, wanting to participate in the process. And by all means, if you put your idea up, I mean, it happened to me with PipX, like the very first participation I ever had, you know, with the community and a proposal, like tons of people wrote me a new one on my idea. But that was separate from them coming at me personally as an individual. We need to get people very comfortable with their ideas being picked apart publicly. That's just part of the process. I don't think we need to get new governance participants comfortable with the idea of being personally attacked.
I completely
I
agree.
don't think that's
Speaking as
something
the
we need to
DAO
train them to
research
do.
manager, I can
Yes.
confirm to you that every proposal author gets blasted just like you did as PipX.
Yeah, like if you pop up an econ and you have an opinion and you get into an argument with somebody over it, that's different. You can choose not to be in that one channel and talking with that one person. You can come back later. If you come into governance with an idea and like you're like, hey, you know what? I think I've got something here. I want to talk to people about it.
Yeah.
If we bash the shit out of you as an individual and a person, you might never want to participate in that process again. Worse yet, people who view it might never want to be the person up on that stage pitching an idea ever again. The stakes are way greater.
Absolutely.
In our
I don't
governance
disagree
chats
with
than
you.
they are in other ones.
I don't disagree with you. I think it needs to be specific and not vague as to what that line is, because that sounds a lot more restrictive than just I disagree with you.
Yes.
I think it's fairly simple. Criticize the pip, not the author. You know,
That's it.
you can be highly critical of the pip, but the moment you say, I think you're just making this pip so that you can have this advantage because you're selfish, like something like that it's
Right.
you know, it's a
You know
very
what, Bodie? That makes a lot of sense. I think that's exactly what we should institute. Criticize the pip,
Yeah.
not the author.
That's it.
For the
It's
record,
very simple.
I'm a
we
fan
did
of
post a
that.
DAO announcement with this exact guidance.
I'm a big
saying-
fan of that.
The moment it switches to the person, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Does anyone on the
Well,
council
that's just the
disagree
definition
with
of ad
that?
hominem. You know,
I
that's
know-
literally the definition of what an ad hominem is. So you just criticize the argument, stick to the argument, stay away from the personal, critiques or whatever. Because I mean, just because like you can do that anywhere else, but like you said, I don't think that people. I just think it is discouraging. It's not just discouraging to the authors, but it's also like if you're coming in here and like if I want to get involved in a governance discussion, even if it's not my own pip, and it's just this slam, like personal slam fest back and forth, it's like I'm just gonna scroll through it. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip over the whole thing, and like at some point, people are just gonna be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go to that chat anymore. You know what I mean? Which, yeah.
I'm gonna speak for Drum again. He says, "How would you moderate that other than to message everyone?" Not that I disagree.
Because slowdown wouldn't
How would you
really
moderate
affect that, would it? And
Well,
deleting.
no, we just tell the moderators. So the moderators are waiting for us to tell them, what do you guys want us to moderate? We could just be like, this is the rule. Criticize the pip, not the author. And then and then that way they can be the one, if somebody's, criticizing an author personally, they can be like, hey, this is against the rule here. If you want to guys have a personal attack fest, go over to high risk zone. That's totally fine over there.
So I think what
if
he's
you want to
asking
talk
for,
shit
what
on each other, go
actions?
literally anywhere else.
Right. What Drum is
Pretty much.
asking the same thing I'm asking. What actions? Is it
Well,
is it a ban? Is it a timeout?
No, they would just take them. They would just insist that they go to a different. And if they continue to step out of line, I don't
That's
know.
on them to figure out as moderators. It's on
Yeah,
us just to say what our expectations are.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. I mean, it's the same as if they step out of line anywhere else, right? Like there is a tighter, like, shorter threshold here. Just that one thing alone is more, it's less leeway than they're given anywhere else. So they'll just say, hey, go take it. They'll probably just say take it to high risk zone if it's personal. And then if they don't, then it's as if they're breaking a rule in any other channel. It's like, hey, 3 warnings, whatever they do, they got that.
Yeah. All right.
Anyone should
The
be
only thing
banned
I
over an
don't
argument.
want them deleting messages.
They
don't
should
want to
never
see
be
that.
deleted.
I think we're all on the same page.
Okay. All right. Cool.
And for the most part, just so you know, Lancer in our community, like when things like this are getting moderated, typically the way they get moderated, like if talking to someone doesn't work and you can't just get the thing to derail and like, hey, let's shut it down. When they can't, usually you've got short-term timeouts or mutes where the person's like, okay, I can now see chat, but I can't type in it for like a period of time, just to give them a chance to cool off and get some steam out.
Okay.
Be pretty unprecedented here for anyone to get banned over an argument.
Okay.
Well,
but you might mute them or time them out enough time for them to cool off and for you to get in their DMs and go, hey man, like we don't want to be doing this, but like you gotta settle down.
So Drum is, saying that the governance section is our domain, so we kind of have to give them, how they want us to, or how they want them to act. But I think it's simple. We just tell them, hey, here we have slightly an additional rule here just to protect the discussion. Make sure that if you're giving a critique, it's specifically for the pip. Don't be having personal discussions where you're attacking people. And then that's all we really need to tell them, because they already have all the tools in place. That if somebody's breaking a rule in any channel, then that's their job, is to assess the situation, how severe it is. If they're habitually breaking the rule, if it's a once every week type thing, then like
Alright, I got
they kind of figure that we don't really need to tell them.
Oh,
We
yeah, I
don't
got
really
you.
need to tell them exactly how to
Falls to
like
their guidance.
Look at what I'm
Yeah.
sharing. This is, I think, what we're after. We agree on moderation. The normal Discord moderation rules with an add limitation. Criticize the pip, not the author. Do not delete messages. Can time out or send them to high risk zone. Agreed?
Now, the only thing I would add here, or alter, I would say, is criticize the idea, not the person. The only difference is we don't
Yep.
want to assume that the criticism is one way. And for instance, and let's use a literal example, like Brian and Bohemian, because we all know like that's half the shit we're talking about right now. It's those two punching each other back and forth in Discord. So it's not one-sided. Brian criticizing Bohemian if he's the pip author. Bohemian as the author is shooting back at Brian too. So like,
Yeah, the
it's-
idea, not
it's
the person.
the idea, not the person. We don't want to just assume that the person being criticized is an author.
Okay.
Well,
Criticize
I'm
the idea,
gonna
not the person.
finally speak. Yeah, that looks good. Drum has a good point, and as I sit here and listen, we could have a higher standard here, and we can ask them to hold our governance to a higher standard. I think that's absolutely something we can do. Now, the repercussions of it, we can kind of leave that up to the mods, maybe. But is it acceptable, do you guys think? Like, should we hold people to a higher standard? Because we can.
Of course we
think so.
should. Now,
I think
the only thing I disagree with is I don't want to talk about what the escalations are for a moderator, figuring this stuff out. But we can absolutely say,
Right.
we've got tighter standards here than we do in other channels. You can't
Yeah,
go in Foundation Room and start popping off either. Right? It's not the channel for that.
I think we could. This
Carlos
was
is
actually a
saying
really good discussion.
Carlos is saying don't leave it ambiguous for them to decide. It's not fair to them. So do not delete messages and can time them out or send them to high risk zone. Is there anything we're missing there?
No, I would just change line 3 to escalations at moderator's discretion. I wouldn't tell the moderators
That's what Carlos is saying. He doesn't think we should leave it to ambiguity, and I agree with that.
Okay.
No,
Well, maybe Drum, you can clarify. Are we talking about the higher
F server.
standard, or are you talking about the repercussions?
Yeah, I don't think Drum was specifically saying we should tell the moderators like what they
How
how to handle a crisis.
no, that's exactly what he's saying that we should do. I'm saying that we don't need to, because they would just handle it exactly the way that they normally would. We're just
They're
saying
really good at it.
there's an additional rule here. Just like the foundation room, there's an additional rule where you don't have personal conversations. You strictly talk to the devs. It's the exact same. There's just one extra rule.
All right, how about this
That's
then?
it.
How about this? This is the do not delete messages. that can apply normal, Discord, moderation, escalation, repercussions.
Yeah, exactly. I love those 2 points.
Okay.
Yeah, and Carlos was talking about repercussions, like not
Yeah.
telling them how to, like when to shoot, just telling them, or what to do, like how to punish.
Drum, the precedent's already set. We have a higher standard in Foundation Room as well. You can't even talk to people. You have to specifically talk to the group. Yeah, but
So yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I think he's agreeing them. Agreeing.
Yeah, I
This
think
is
we're
the
good now.
disadvantage
We
of the
can have
fact
it
that Drum
higher.
isn't mic'd up.
All right, let's go around the room. Signal, do you agree with what is written here?
Just reading real quick, just to do a final confirmation.
You move your cursor.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emperor.
The only clarification I'd add there is I don't think the counselors themselves. It should be the people acting on this.
Okay, I might
yeah, the
act on
first
it.
bullet point. Council agrees on moderation. It would be council agrees to delegate moderation.
With the
I may
enclosed
end up
rules.
doing some of this to somebody.
Huh?
So I may end up applying moderation to somebody.
If you want
That's
to, if you
what
want
we're
to be the
talking
police,
about with
yeah,
Separate discussion. Yeah, we
Right.
got to.
Yeah, to
yeah.
me, it's the first bullet in our job description. Signal doesn't like it.
it's
He doesn't
also
want
the
to do it,
very
and that's
first thing
fine.
that we got rid of.
Yeah, that is true. We got rid of that like week 1 in Council 1. We were like, nope, we don't want to do that.
Okay.
Because it was immediately a problem with the community.
Okay, I get that, but
Yeah.
I signed something that said that. Not SAC 1.
that piece of paper was, yeah, the piece of paper was wrong. The service agreement shouldn't have that in there.
Well, the
It's
other
a
thing,
clarification that somebody,
the other
they
thing,
messed
Lance,
up.
are worth
Whoever made that
noting.
form,
Okay, it's not just there, it's also in the PIP.
Right. There's still,
it's in
at
the
the end of the
first PIP,
day,
yes,
there's
but PIP 10 overrode PIP 1
All right, we need to talk about that
or
because
whatever, whichever.
I don't think that's entirely true.
Yeah, we can
Well,
talk
that's the
about it all.
spirit of it.
Okay, got
We
it.
can talk about it as much as you want.
Sure.
Like we could also just do an informal vote right now. Like there's you, me, Drum, Bodie, Emperor. The 3 of us could each just say whether or not we think we should be directly moderating as council members. We could at least get everyone's opinion on it right now.
So when I was a community moderator, I was able to moderate conversations, things like this. I never once did any moderation unless it was like there was an extremely notorious person that was fudding every single day for like months to the point where basically everyone in the community unanimously was like, oh my God, this guy again.
They're just wrecking the chat and everyone's on the same page.
That was the only time that I ever modded outside of a clear scam link ever. Right. So I think if we are going to do any sort of moderation as council, it should be very, very egregious. Like some sort of like just straight racist, like just vile, like you were saying. To where it's like there's not even going to be a conflict. Like nobody's going to disagree.
Nobody would disagree.
Yeah, I think that's
and even then you shouldn't delete anything.
Yeah, I don't think in any circumstance I
All
would
it,
ever
all
want
it
to
would
agree.
take.
if it's a
We
scam,
don't have to. We don't have to mod any of that. The mods can actually do that.
Now, here's what I want to do, just
I don't
because
think
this
they're in
gets
agreement.
yeah, I want to start here, like if we can. Can we each just really quick go around? Me, then Lanzer, then Bodie, then Drum, then Emp. Do you want to mod, and do you think you should be modding? I'll start. I don't want
I think
to,
we need.
and
Wait,
I
hold
don't
on,
think I
hold on,
should be.
hold on. Define mod. What I think that's important. Does that mean? What does mod mean? What are we talking about?
Should you be responsible for directly trafficking, policing, and implementing potential escalations and punishments for people inside governance chat?
Nice.
I'm going to say I don't think I should be doing that, and I don't want to be doing it. Now, let's not get into a broader discussion. Let's just each of
Sure.
us
I'll go
answer
next.
that.
I
Lancer.
don't want to be, and I think I am compelled to, that I should be.
Okay. Bodie.
Sorry, I was talking to Drum. Ask again. Sorry.
Do you want to moderate governance chat as a counselor, and do you think you should?
In general, no, but I am not opposed to removing scam links, and I'm not opposed to moderating something that, like I was just talking about, where it's overwhelmingly egregious. Nobody would disagree with it. Not even a question of conflict. I would be fine with that. In fact, the scam link one, I would definitely want to be able to moderate, because every second that thing's on the chat, somebody could lose their life savings.
So,
So
emergencies.
you don't think you
No,
shouldn't?
your answer is
Emergencies.
essentially no, other than emergencies.
So no for
Exactly.
both,
Great way to
right?
put it.
No for both, other than emergencies.
Yeah. Drum.
Okay.
Maybe you can answer in chat.
Yeah, I don't mind written mod. I disagree with consequences. They should be under the same rules for the rest of the server. I don't want moderation powers. I'm okay saying this is out of line.
Okay, so
So at a
it says you
minimum,
need
we've got 4 of us that say we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
We've got one that says so far they feel compelled to do it. One, like, hey, I'll do it if it's literally like a scam link gets posted or someone's shouting racial slurs, right? Like inside our chat.
And
at least
I haven't actually answered yet.
Yeah, what's
You
your
forgot
answer?
about me, Signal.
I felt like you
forgot
literally
about
just
me.
did. That's what I was responding to.
No, I wanted to clarify what mod was. No,
Oh.
I was reading Drum Carlos. That was Drum. That wasn't me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was your answer, my friend. Yeah.
No, I was reading. I should have used the accent.
Gotcha. Now you am.
Yeah, I don't want to moderate. We have people that can do that.
So we can continue the conversation, of course, from here, but we should continue it from the basis of knowing that none of us want to. And most of us, at least so far, seem like this isn't on us, other than some extreme, weird, insane circumstance. So it's just good to at least know where everyone's at if we're going to have that discussion.
Okay. That's fair. I probably
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to keep hashing this over. We can I don't know. If I mod somebody, is that going to cause an issue with the council?
From the community?
No, not the community.
Probably.
You all.
Well, the thing is, we serve the community, right? So the biggest question is, if you mod someone as a counselor, will it create a community reaction that is negative, and distracts from all the other things that we're here to do? If you do something that creates a community reaction which is negative and distracts from all the other things that we're supposed to do, then yes, it probably generates a negative reaction from council as well, because we're just going to be like, oh, geez, we didn't have to be in this situation.
So that's the part that I'm confused about. It tells you what your job is. So I don't see how you can say I don't want to do that, but it's telling you that that's your job.
Lanzer, we've explained this ad nauseum.
Yeah.
It says it in the agreement. You are correct. It says it in one of the pips. You are correct. But the spirit and the preview and another, I don't remember the number of the pip, but it specifically calls out that we aren't going to do that. It never got completely ratified. You are correct. But
okay,
we're telling you that's the conversation that has happened, and that's the agreement that is currently in place, and that's what we have as a community and everybody agreed to.
And that came from the team, including the community team and the active mods that the community team currently employs. I mean, that was a conversation not just amongst council.
Well, yeah,
that was a conversation amongst council, Automata's community team, and the existing mod staff.
That was how we made that whole mod channel. Was out of the back end of that conversation, and Dan was there. So
I listened to it. I know. Yeah, that was an interesting one to listen
Well
to.
then, I guess since you listened to it, what's the reason to not listen to it?
Well, first of all, they were very unsure when they talked about that. They talked about deleting messages still, by the way. So there's that. But second, SAC 2 is not beholden to SAC 1's decisions for themselves.
Again, it wasn't made just by SAC 1 by themselves. It was made by SAC 1 in conjunction with Automata, the community team, and the other
Okay.
mods.
All right, that part I don't think I heard in the actual discussion then.
And I just wanted to double underline that for you because I knew it would change your perspective a little bit.
Okay.
That
Well,
this is something for us to
then-
talk about with multiple
Okay.
parties, not just us.
I
But I
feel
want
like
us
I'm in
to
a
at
rock
least
and a
start
hard
from the
place then.
basis of I want
Is
us to
there-
at least start from the basis of how do we feel as counselors. And
Yeah.
how we feel as the counselors seems to universally be, we don't want to do this. And other than extreme emergencies, we don't think we should. Now, of course, you're your own person, and you do have powers and functions, under your profile enabled because you're a counselor. But
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like all this context and stuff outside of what I was signing in a document it's killing me, man.
yeah,
It's
well, we
killing
can
me.
talk about it as much as you want. We only got 5 minutes left in our
Yeah,
webcast and our show.
I'm good.
Like,
I'm good. You all know my perspective on this.
yeah, I get it, man. And again, in these conversations, the biggest thing I'm just looking for is like, let's slow it down for a second. Let's go around the room and go, okay, where's everyone at?
Yeah.
And then we can proceed from that.
All right.
Oh yeah, Drum brings up a good point. We should definitely talk about everything we just discussed with Santi to see what his says. He might have a better idea. He might be like, "Oh yeah, I think that's great," or we're not. I don't know.
Like just about everything we do, it should be a discussion with the community as well as the team on what we think the best guidance is.
Yeah.
The biggest thing we want to
Agreed.
make sure is we're not doing anything that falls out of harmony with those two.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet that even when one member called another member an idiot, I didn't see that as a bannable offense. Like that's
No, nobody should have been not. I wouldn't have even muted anybody, in that scenario.
yeah. Beyond what I said, I wouldn't have. It would have been fine. It's just
Yeah.
on the continuum of things that we have to police. Should I be adding that to my list of responsibilities that I'm compelled to do, whether I want to or not?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'd say no, but we can.
Our
Here,
response
put
is
it this
no.
way:
Us-
we can
us
all say
four.
no, but I know right now you're going to just go back to, yeah, but it's literally. So it's not really a valuable conversation at this time. We
All
can
right,
we can
I
do the
feel ya.
loops later
We're good.
offline.
We're good.
Does anyone in the audience have anything for us? We got a couple of guests: Bruno, Quindar, Ngolo,
No, they had said in the
Palmetta.
a few of them said that they were here just to hang out, and Quindar actually thanked us for all of our work. That was cool.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And it really does mean a lot that you guys are actually here, for the live. Kind of like we teased in the X post, like you can just watch if that's what you're into, but we definitely prefer engagement and, hanging out with community members talking about this stuff.
I got to
I'd like to
in a
start.
few minutes.
I'd like to start timing the different sections of this this tag up, so we can get an idea of the value to time ratio that we're getting on some of these different sections, just over time, because we might find that some of them are giving us a lot of value and they're not taking in a lot of time, but then there might be some stuff that's like just kind of like formality, not really giving us back a ton of value, but taking a lot of time. It's just something
Yeah, it's smart.
Or do we have somebody recording this? Because that would be an easy way to look back, like
Yeah, Lancer's
Yeah, Bodie,
got it.
I've
He
been
could break
recording
that
every
down.
single one of them.
Okay. Do you do timestamps? Because if you were to timestamp like
No.
when we transitioned, or no?
I don't do timestamps. I upload it,
No.
and really, I'm just
But
a
he
backup.
could give us that data pretty easily.
I'm a backup to
You know.
VB, and he's the one that normally records it and posts it on Startless TV.
VB, we need
But-
time, bro.
Yeah.
But maybe with our last like 2-3
Oh.
minutes, like go around and if anyone has like a last thing they want to say, closing out.
Golo said he's listening and learning. Thank you for being here and listening and learning.
Bodhi, anything, brother?
No, man. No, I'm it's a lot different. The way we're handling everything is a lot different than Council 1. I see a lot of promise in it. I see a lot of different like we're kind of it feels like we're branching out into different ways of doing it, and I feel like over time we're going to really figure out which of these lanes is really working for us. And so I think it's kind of cool that we're going to be trying all these unique things, and then I think we're going to find that some of them are pretty advantageous. Like I wasn't a lot of these things I haven't been a big fan of at first, and I'm like, okay, wait, this is kind of cool. Like the swim lanes, I was like, I don't know about that. But then once I saw the jobs, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty sweet.
Nice.
Nice. Back to
Drum
you,
says
Lanza.
he hates this team. No, Drum put, I love this team.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't respond to that immediately.
You get
I love you too,
moderated.
Drum. What do you got, Lancer?
I agree with what Bodhi just said. Enough said on that, man. And Carlos, I love the team too. So I'm happy that we're working this out together.
This is all really fun. It is. I'll let you close it out since you talked the longest. So I'll go next. No, this has all been really fun. It falls in line with what I love doing, and we're going to create stuff, the processes and procedures out of all of these conversations, because you don't know what you don't know. And one of my favorite sayings lately is I'm a huge advocate of failure. So having awkward, hard conversations, it's not failing, it's not whatever, it's truly just, that's how you learn, that's how you know. So wrap us up, buddy.
Yeah, just really glad to be here. I think this is all awesome. I really do love the fact that we do this shit live and unscripted. Like we come in here to review this and like go through these things, like this general Q&A, even the back and forth that we just had going like, should we mod, should we not mod? Well, I think this, well, this isn't here. Like, I think there's a ton of value to the fact that we're doing things out in the open, transparently. People can actually see what this shit sounds like. And yeah, love all you guys. Really glad to be here and be a part of this.
Go team, go.
Go team, go.
Go team, go.
That concludes today. Thank you, everybody, and have a great week.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Friend. Good vibes, brother. Good vibes. Thank you. All right, let's go. Whoa, what just happened now? Hey, E-Jack with 15. Dude, thank you. Hey, Lanzer, don't even worry. Oh, that's a wall. That's a wall turn. All right. Second sticker going on.